Greetings. My name is Josh Golden. I'm the Director of Music Ministries at Hickson United Methodist Church. And this week, I wanted to talk to you about some things I've been thinking about, namely verses in the Bible that bother me. There may be a lot for you. I know there are a lot for me. They make me feel a little uneasy. I'm not sure about them. There's two verses that I've been thinking about that seem really unrelated, but maybe they're not. The first one comes from a story we know really well, the story of Cain and Abel. And it's the part of the story where Cain and Abel both bring their offering before God. And the Bible says that God looked pleasingly with favor upon Abel's offering, but did not do so upon Cain's offering. We have no idea why. There's no indication that Cain's offering was a lesser offering. We don't know why God seems to arbitrarily not be pleased with Cain's offering. That's always bothered me. Fast forward thousands of years to the time of Jesus. There's this great story about Jesus at the home of Lazarus, and Mary breaks the jar of perfume and anoints his feet, and the disciples get filled with what they believe is righteous indignation. How dare you waste this expensive perfume? You could have sold it and helped the poor with the money. And Jesus says, leave her alone, because you will always have the poor with you, but you will not always have me. That's also bothered me. Aren't we supposed to care most for the least of these? Shouldn't we be, as Christians, about giving of ourselves tirelessly? Isn't that the point? Well, I think maybe what Jesus is getting at, and maybe what God saw in Cain, is the way in which we give, the way that we approach the altar. It's not just about giving of our resources. It's also about giving the things that God has said, give to me, leave to me. This Sunday, we're going to celebrate communion together. And as we approach the altar at communion, we often think about the grace that we're given, the gift that we're given. But do we think about the fact that we're called to leave something on the table? We're called to leave a sacrifice on the table. It could be a sacrifice of gratitude and praise toward God. It could be a sacrifice of the parts of us that are sinful that we need to leave behind. Because God has said, lay your burdens at my feet. Lay them on the altar. That's a way that we can actually give to God. But you see, I think the difference between Mary and Cain is the way they approach the altar. We don't know how Cain approached it, but if we know the character of God through Jesus, we can safely assume that Cain didn't approach it with a charitable heart. He didn't approach it with an eager heart to give. Maybe Abel did. But Cain may have approached it begrudgingly. He may not wanted to be there. He may not have wanted to give of his hard work and the fruits of his labor. We don't know that for sure, but we know God wasn't pleased. How do you approach the altar? Do you approach it like Cain or like Mary? Mary, who gets on her feet and breaks this expensive perfume, even though it may not make sense to do so, she still does it because her heart is overflowing with gratitude toward God. That's how I encourage you to approach the table this communion or every time you go to God in prayer. Approach it with hearts overflowing with gratitude, not begrudgingly, but cheerfully, so that your blessing, whatever it is, your praise to God or your giving up of your sin, will maintain a blessing to you throughout the week and will turn God's ear and incline Him towards you because of your generosity and your cheerful heart. I hope you have a blessed and safe week this week.